Alright, we're in game 6 of the NBA Finals, and that means the NBA Finals is almost over, the NBA season is almost over, and we're almost on the cusp of the NBA offseason, and what kicks off every NBA offseason is the NBA draft. I don't know exactly how many days we are away from it, but I think it's a good time for me to drop my mock draft for the 2021 NBA draft. At number 1, the Detroit Pistons lucked into the number 1 overall pick. And there's basically 2 consensus picks here, either Jalen Green or Cade Cunningham. A lot of experts per se say that Cade is the best prospect and that the Pistons should no-brainer pick Cade Cunningham, but I have them taking Jalen Green. Why? I think Jalen has the highest ceiling out of any prospect in this year's draft, and I honestly like him more than Cade Cunningham. That might be an unpopular opinion, but it is my own. I think he's the perfect score-first shot creator to have next to Killian Hayes in the backcourt, and I'm more confident in him as a number 1 option on a team than I am in Cade. The Pistons are in desperate need of a superstar, and I think Jalen Green has more of a probability of reaching that status than Cade Cunningham. Their backup pick should be Cade Cunningham, though. He is the second best prospect in this draft, in my opinion, and if they're not going to get Jalen, I see them getting Cade. But in my mock draft, I have them taking Jalen Green. At number 2, we have the Houston Rockets here. I have the second best prospect in the draft coming off the board in Cade Cunningham. John Wall is the point guard on the team right now, but I doubt if he's this team's long-term point guard due to just his timeline, his injury concerns, and maybe a team would want to take on a John Wall contract with the years in length going down. So to find that actual long-term point guard that could be Cade Cunningham, I love his fit table setting for Christian Wood in pick and roll and pick and pop settings, letting Kevin Porter Jr. play more off the ball. Maybe he can set him up for some catch and shoots or in some floppy action for him. And Cade is another young guy on this Rockets team with potential as a shot creator. So yeah, I think this works out perfectly. If I were the Rockets, I wouldn't want to have to juggle Jalen Green and Kevin Porter Jr. on the wing. I'd rather have a young table center with superstar potential in Cade Cunningham. I think Cade Cunningham is a perfect fit, a better fit for them than Jalen Green. But if Jalen Green is the number 2 guy available here, I see them taking him. At number 3, I have the Cavs taking Evan Mobley. Defense, defense, defense. That's what Evan Mobley provides. I think he can play either the 4 or the 5 due to his athleticism and length. It honestly depends on what the Cavs will do with Jarrett Allen in restricted free agency. If they were to draft Evan Mobley, his position would be dependent on the Jarrett Allen decision. He could be a great pick and roll partner with Sexton and Garland, or Sexton or Garland, because we've heard some trade rumors regarding both of the guards that they might want to trade one or the other. A backup pick here would be Jonathan Kuminga because it fills that power forward need. At number 4, I have the Raptors taking Jalen Suggs. At this spot, it is best player available and it's a pretty damn good fit. It would form a great playmaking and defensive backcourt of him and Van Fleet, and it adds some size to Toronto's backcourt, which is something they haven't seen in years, having to roll that Lowry and Fred Van Fleet backcourt, which they've made do with over the past 2 or 3 years, but it's cool to get bigger. I assume Lowry is on his way out, so Suggs would be a great replacement, honestly. At this number 4 spot, I think either Jalen Suggs or Evan Mobley will be available. So if they don't take Jalen, I think their backup pick will be Evan Mobley, a great young prospect to pair in the front court with Pascal. At number 5, I have Jonathan Kuminga falling to Orlando. Definitely a best player available pick. I think he's the last member of the core 5 of this draft. Cade, Evan, the 2 Jalens, and now Jonathan. I think this is the 5 likely superstars of this draft, the players with the highest ceilings. Orlando needs to add high-end talent as soon as possible, especially on the offensive end, and I think Kuminga provides that. If not Jonathan Kuminga, I think their backup pick is Moses Moody, a multi-dimensional wing, provides a lot of spacing, and has some shot creation potential. At number 6, I have the Oklahoma City Thunder taking Scottie Barnes. I think this is another best player available fit. I think Scottie would benefit on a team with a lot of weapons. I think he would shine early on in that environment. Obviously, Oklahoma City is not that environment, even though they have Shea. If Scottie Barnes were to go to OKC, it would make it more necessary for him to focus on his individual skill set, shot creation, his handle, and his jump shot, which are all red marks on him coming into this draft. If they don't take Scottie, I think OKC could make do with Moses Moody here as well. At number 7, I have the Warriors taking James Bouknight. Now, this might be the first surprise of this mock draft to you all. I think he's the next best scorer / shot creator in this draft. At this point in the draft, the Dubs could use some bench scoring all last season, and they could add some here with James Bouknight. The backup pick is going to be Moses Moody again. Like I said, all-around wing. He can shoot, defend off the bench for the Dubs. And I low-key might have talked myself into the Dubs taking Moses Moody instead of James Bouknight, because with Clay returning, Andrew Wiggins possibly still on the team as a tertiary shot creator, Jordan Poole emerging as a great bench scorer, maybe shot creation isn't as necessary for the Dubs. Maybe more so they need someone to just fit into the team, just to fill a role, to shoot when you're open and play hard on defense. Be multi-dimensional. I think that's something that Moses Moody could provide early on. So I'm going to swap my pick. I have the Warriors taking Moses Moody, and then their backup pick will be James Bouknight. Now, at number 8, for the Orlando Magic, I have them taking James Bouknight. For the same reasons that I originally described, he's the next best scorer / shot creator remaining in this draft, and in my opinion, this is the best available pick here. The backup pick for the Magic should be KEON Johnson, a raw athletic wing who's got high-end defensive potential and slashing talent. Developing an outside shot could really unleash his potential. At number 9, I have the Sacramento Kings taking Kai Jones. There's a big need for the center position in Sacramento. I know Richaun was really good last year, but it's only Richaun Holmes, and he's also going to be a free agent. He might get a payday from another team. And I also really like Kai Jones as a prospect. He has potential as a high-end rim-protecting stretch 5, one of the most sought-after players or player types in the modern league. He's very mobile, and he's a great lob threat in the dunker spot. He could form a great pick-and-roll / pick-and-pop duo with De'Aaron Fox and Tyrese Halliburton. The backup pick for the Kings I have is KEON Johnson, for similar reasons I described earlier. At number 10, I have the Pelicans taking Corey Kispert. Shout out to the viewer of the Pelicans offseason outlook for this recommendation. The Pelicans are in desperate need to surround Zion and BI with shooting, and Kispert is quite possibly the best shooter in this class. A backup pick here at number 10 is going to be KEON Johnson. But at 11, I actually have the Hornets drafting KEON Johnson. The Hornets could use some high-end one-on-one defenders. They don't really have that many great one-on-one defenders on their team right now. KEON has that potential as a great on-ball defender. He also could be a great off-ball cutter for LaMelo to find due to his elite athleticism and finishing ability, similar to the benefit that Miles Bridges provided on offense for LaMelo and the Hornets last year. The backup pick I have is Usman Garuba. He's a big man with high defensive floor and a high defensive ceiling coming into the league already with his time spent overseas, playing professionally overseas, mind you, on one of the more premier overseas teams, outside the NBA in Real Madrid. The Hornets might try to go center here with Zeller and Biyombo being free agents this offseason. At 12, I have the Spurs actually drafting Usman Garuba. There's a huge need for upside at either big man position and also a need for defense. Garuba is one of the best defensive prospects in this class, a great help side defender inside, who's also very capable of switching out on the perimeter, and he's very disruptive and active. Though he is very raw offensively, he doesn't have much of a handle in the half court. His three-point shot is iffy at best, but San Antonio has a great track record for offensive development for their young prospects, so this might be a match made in heaven. A backup pick for them is Davion Mitchell. This would be best player available for sure. The fit is kind of iffy with a loaded backcourt in San Antonio with the likes of DeJounte Murray, Lonnie Walker, and Trey Jones, though Mitchell might have the highest offensive ceiling out of them all. If he could be as solid of a facilitator as he was in Baylor and develop into a starting caliber, I think there'd be enough playmaking between he and DeJounte. and it would be a great defensive backcourt if Davion lives up to the potential on that end. But that's just a backup pick for the Spurs. I actually have the Pacers at 13 drafting Davion Mitchell. I low-key think Malcolm Brogdon might get traded this offseason, so you can just plug Davion Mitchell in if they choose to do so, if they want to start him immediately after drafting him. For that reason, I think it's a good pick for them, and also I think this is best player available. He's got an all-around offensive game, great scorer off the dribble in the mid-range, and catch and shoot from 3. He's very quick and capable of getting to the rim. He's a great above-the-rim finisher in the open floor at 6'2", and he's pretty shifty. He's got a fast handle, and like I said, he's just great defensively, kind of a pest. He was seen guarding Jalen Suggs and Cade Cunningham last collegiate season, and he made both of them struggle at times, so that just proves his defensive acumen. A backup pick for the Pacers here could be Josh Christopher out of ASU. He's simply a bucket. I think he's a member of the second tier of shot creators in this class. Indiana could use some shot creation off the bench and possibly a TJ Warren replacement starting at the 3 if he's not re-signed after his contract expires. And to round out the lottery, I have the Warriors taking Franz Wagner, or Wagner. I think this is Mo Wagner's brother. I mean, they both went to Michigan, so it's got to be, right? Wagner is one of the best guys in this draft to plug into a contending team. One of the best defenders in this draft, great size, very versatile and disruptive. He's got a high basketball IQ. He's a great playmaker in general, and especially as a 4. He shined a lot as a passer in the roller in the pick and roll setting, which is something that the Warriors are familiar with. He's a good floor general in the fast break, often running that and hitting the open man, and he had an extra year of collegiate experience at a powerhouse in Michigan. His shaky 3 will be one of the things that limit consistent playing time for him early on, but I think his high basketball IQ and defensive prowess can get him on the court. A backup pick for the Warriors could be Josh Giddey. I low-key love this pick for the Warriors, kind of more than I love it for Franz Wagner, but I'm just going to stick with this being the backup. Giddey is one of the draft's best passers. He low-key probably is the best passer. He would really shine playing in the Warrior system. I think he'd be very capable of running the second unit at the 1 position, coming into the league for maybe 10 minutes a game. And I think this would be a great place for his individual development as well. So that's my mock draft. I'm only going to do it for the lottery. I'm not going to act like I've scouted 30 or 60 or so prospects to do an entire mock draft. We're just going to do it for the lottery. And I actually can't wait until this NBA draft comes up, because this is apparently one of the best classes in recent years, so it should be fun once that time comes.